I'm here today with Heidi of Dark Sarah to talk about the new record, Attack of Orem, out January 27th. It's nice talking to you again about another Dark Sarah record. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm really excited. Waiting for next week.
Yeah,
The
you
album
must be
release.
counting the days.
Yes, exactly.
So let me start by asking you this. Musically, what side of Dark Sarah do you see better represented on this album?
Well, I think that it's definitely something new for us, this album, and it will be how would I say? I wanted to have kind of my own dreams, what I wanted to do with this album, because I wasn't so sure if I want to do another Dark Sarah album. I went really deep waters when we were recording this, and so we decided to kind of really go forward with our production style, and in that way I feel that this is our best album so far, because it's really energetic and also with the new singing style maybe, and also with all the new elements like the synthesizers and everything, really modern stuff that I wanted to have on this album. So in that way, maybe not like something that we have done before, but now something really new.
When it comes to creating concept records, because this is a concept album, as the previous album, it's a continuation from the previous album. What are the most challenging aspects of building a record around a concept?
Well, it's definitely how to kind of build the concept of the story and also the album together, so that the album doesn't suffer, and also it kind of also supports the storyline. And of course, when you're kind of, I always have this idea of the storyline in my head when we start making an album. So sometimes it's a compromise. Sometimes you have to compromise the storyline, maybe some things that you wanted to kind of include in the story, but music ways it doesn't. So there may be not enough songs, or you cannot kind of put all the songs there. So it would be like a massive album. Or yeah, it's sometimes you just have to compromise. Yeah.
When it comes to Dark Sarah, are you guys married to the continuation of this concept, continue building the story, adding new characters? Or do you see in the future the possibility of going a little bit outside of that and creating an album that still sounds like Dark Sarah, but it's not necessarily a concept record?
Yes, I have been thinking about that. Sometimes I feel a little bit like tied to the story, so I don't maybe. And so, of course, when you have made 5 albums, people expect a lot of from your albums, and also the storyline, and maybe also the visitors on the album and everything like that. So sometimes it's a little bit like you have to kind of fulfill all the expectations on that side. But on this album, I was a little bit selfish in that way. So I really fulfilled my own dreams with this album more than just doing the concept that we have been doing for the rest of the last four albums. But of course, yeah.
Maybe in the future then, a full-on concept record.
Yeah, I was lost.
You're not saying no. You're not saying no.
Yes, yes, but that's something. Yeah, definitely. I've been thinking about that, and of course, on this album, something ends with when you read the story and you know what happens in the end. It kind of closes one book again. I've closed many books lately, but maybe that's also something that tells about my kind of want, or this kind of what I want to do in the future. So I want to kind of swim in new waters, I would say. Yeah.
I felt that one thing about the concept and about the record is that it had an easier path for me. Previous records, the concept was very elaborate, which was very hard for me as a listener to really sometimes understand where I am, where are we going, what's happening. This one felt super easy. Is that from the sound that you guys created, or is that from the actual lyrical content, and overall concept idea?
Nice to know, because as a writer, I maybe cannot be so optimistic, or not optimistic, but objective from in that point of view. But anyways, so it's nice to know that this was kind of easier to kind of get the idea, like musically maybe too. Of course, I think that the songs are a little bit more easier to approach to, that way, that they are not that cinematic or theatrical maybe that they have been before, and that this was something that I wanted to kind of leave in the history of Dark Sarah, that there is still, the sound is really Dark Sarah, but still the theatrical elements are not that prominent, I would say. Yeah, and yeah, maybe that's one of the reasons. Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like the songs work really well individually, but obviously still tying themselves with one another. While previous records, you almost needed the song that came before and the song that comes after for the one in the middle to make a little bit more sense. And I thought that on this record, you guys simplified those processes which made the album a lot better, a lot more enjoyable.
Thank you. Yeah, that was something that I kind of wanted to have a more radio friendly material. That has never been like a thing for me. When I started Dark Sarah, it was a music that is metal music that is, but it doesn't need to be on the radio. This was my kind of motto when I started Dark Sarah. But of course, your kind of preferences change, when you kind of live 10 years. But I think that this was, we wanted to kind of create a little bit more easier to approach songs, and also they would kind of also invite a new audience too. So that was definitely one fact that we wanted to include in our music also, but still having the same like the lyrical concept and also the book.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes, there's a book for this album, same as the Grimm album, and it's also written in the really comprehensive English.
Wow.
So that it's really easy to kind of read too. So it's not a really massive book, but it's just something a little bit more next
to go a little bit deeper into the record. You can listen to the album, read the book at the same time, get a little bit more out of it.
Exactly. Yes, it's a little bit extra for the ones who want to kind of dig into the story more. But of course, this you can always listen to the only the music, not so much kind of dig into the storyline. And you don't need to know anything about Dark Sarah and the stories before this album if you don't want to. Yeah,
it's really enjoyable from that point of view. Now, the first thing that surprised me when I pressed play on this record, because you introduce a new character right at the beginning of the album, and the voice of that character is none other than Mark Jensen from Epica. What made Mark the right voice for this new villain?
When I knew that it was going to be when I had this kind of the new villain already in my head, I knew it would be like a sea monster kind of growls and grunts kind of voice. And also it complements the really light music too, sometimes light parts. And of course, I like these contrasts. And because Mark is such a great guy and really nice person, it was easy to kind of approach him and ask him personally if he could kind of loan his vocal cords for this album. And he says, of course. And we can hear him in the background on I think 3 songs, yeah, but he's singing more like because he's kind of lurking behind every
the shadows.
Yes, the shadows. So that's why we wanted to have him also in the background, those vocals. Yeah.
Is there somebody out there that you haven't worked with on a record like this? Maybe somebody like Mark, maybe somebody a little bit different. Is there somebody out there that you haven't worked with that it's on your bucket list of, the next Dark Sarah album, let's try to get this person to work with?
Well, not much. Let me think. Not maybe. of course, I've tried on Grim album. I wanted to have Lordi, Finnish Lordi, to sing the Mörk monster role, but he wasn't available. But anyway, yeah, of course, I've asked some celebrities who, if they could join this. Of course, I'm paying them to do this, so it's a job. So in that way, but not, I don't know yet who would it be. Yeah, but of course, my villains and everything like that, I always kind of have to hear the music and kind of feel what kind of voice this would need, and in that way, it's always, you go with the flow kind of thing.
Yeah, more driven by the music and the idea than driven by your own desires to work with this person or that person.
Yes, and of course I think about the vocal style, and then I start thinking about listing what kind of what musicians could it be, and then I send emails. Sometimes I get the first one, and it's a great thing.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's always nice to get the one that you went for first.
Yes, exactly.
Versus going all the way to the bottom of the list.
Yes, and I've been lucky in that way, that most of the persons that I've kind of wanted to have on the album have agreed, and that's a great thing.
How would you define, for the fans that are not as lucky as me, who obviously have heard the whole album, how would you define the overall sound experience on this album? Would you say cinematic? Would you say symphonic? Would you say a little bit pop, new melodic metal? Like, because I had a hard time defining it, so I need your help.
Yes, I think that it's mostly all of them, because like I said, we were kind of fulfilling my dreams, and I've been listening to a lot of this kind of what is it called? This kind of new wave. It's not
new wave, because there was already a new wave before in the 80s, so now it's the new wave.
Yes. So new wave music, like it's 80s style, and synthesizers, these really like really old style synthesizers. I love them. And also there's kind of this adult oriented rock thing that it's really close to my heart. And also I really like AOR music, and maybe you don't hear that much the sound, but still it's kind of in the background of what I personally love to listen. And also and I think that of course these 80s sounds are there, but still it's symphonic without having all the symphonic like orchestrations that you have normally learned to hear, but still the depth of the symphonic metal is there, but it is represented in a different way, with the really big choirs, almost like Queen choirs sometimes, and also I sang a lot of choirs for this album, and it's one of the thing that kind of replaces these orchestrations, and also really big this synthesizer like how is it, atmospheres that you hear there too. So in that way, all of them that you earlier said, I think, yeah.
A little bit of everything is there. What about on the lyrical side? I honestly, I think for a concept to work, the lyrics are really important as far as the listener is concerned, so that we can understand the story a lot better and therefore become more engaged with it. Did you look at the lyrical content on this album in a different light versus previous records?
Yes, I did, and I tried to find a kind of simplicized way to say it, so that it would kind of support the music more than it has before. And in that way, I wanted to kind of also develop my writing style, so that it would be so that it would really suit the music better. Sometimes it is very hard to kind of write some kind of story with the lyrics, because you know that I need to have all this kind of packed in one song, and it's really hard to kind of choose what words to use and so on. But on this album, I kind of let let loose a little bit more there. So that's why it's also good to have these books and everything, like you can read too if you want to kind of dig in deeper to the storyline.
Did you also let loose a little bit vocally? The reason I'm asking that is because I feel like this is your best album vocally.
Oh wow!
Because it felt like you're singing in the shower, like, you know what I mean? Like it felt very loose, very organic, very natural, for a lack of a better word. Did something change? Did the lyrical content help you feel a little bit more loose? What happened?
Nice to hear, because I learned a little bit more different vocal style for this album, because I felt that because it's so much more energetic album, and really, yeah, it needed a little bit more aggressive vocals, in my opinion, than just a purely classical style. So I took a little bit like rock and pop singing style there, so you don't hear pure classical, only parts here and there, but of course, because it's really hard to be something that you are not. so of course you can hear that I'm a classical singer, of course, but still it's something new, like you said. Yeah, maybe letting loose, and of course the phrasing is really different when you sing this kind of pop rock sound. And that's I think is the most important thing, the phrasing, how it's done. And of course, really good lyrics support the phrasing too. So it's kind of everything is attached. So in that way, I think that they support each other. So a little bit easier or better or easier or different lyrics, and also the new phrasing and the sound. And so and also the songs are really singable, I could say. Yeah.
So has this album opened some doors for you vocally, that, you know, now that you know you can do this, will we see a little bit more of this in the future? Did you enjoy it?
Yes, I did. I haven't been ready to kind of to take this new style, start learning this new style, because I'm a professional classical singer, and when I was educated, I didn't want to kind of anything to interrupt the education, and so that I could really master my stuff. But now I think that because I've graduated, so I kind of wanted to have something different. And like I said in the earlier, when we started this session, I said that I wasn't sure if I wanted to continue making Dark Sarah and albums and everything like that. It's a huge job always, and I was a little bit kind of smashed under the pressure and all the work and everything, because now that we are independent again, I was really expecting and I was really happy that we were signed to Napalm Records, and also having the support from the label with everything like this, these tiny things that managing everything, like selling the records and so on, what lies behind. And so in that way I was like, I'm not sure if I want to continue. But then, because of this kind of thing that was already in my head, we were talking with our producer, and I said, okay, open all the doors, and now we're going to do what we want to do. Let's not wait like 2 more albums to be able to kind of bring this in, because of course we appreciate our fans so much that we don't want to make too big changes at once, so that they are like, what, this doesn't sound Dark Sarah at all. So in that way, of course, I've been a little bit like taking baby steps with these changes. But now I felt like, okay, let's do it now. Let's open the doors, and whatever comes in. And of course, when the process was on, we kind of course went a little bit back, kind of watched or had this kind of view to Grim album, so that the change is not too big, and in that way I feel that we really managed to kind of achieve what we wanted to achieve. And best of all, I got my motivation back. And I was like, okay, yeah, wow, this is something really new and motivating. And of course, I want to kind of research this material and this style and everything like that. I want to learn more. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
You found your groove back, and you touched a little bit on the label there. Were you disappointed that the relationship with Napalm didn't last as long as perhaps you would have hoped for?
Yes, of course I was. Of course, if it's something like kind of you want to kind of date someone and then it's kind of click.
And they don't want to date you anymore. Yeah, I get it.
We're not dating anymore. So it felt like that, you know. It felt like that. I was like, what's wrong? Because we didn't get any kind of answer. Of course I asked, okay, well, okay, but because they only heard 3 short songs, demos from the album, so they couldn't have had any kind of maybe idea of the album totally. But still, I don't know. Of course, it's business. Maybe there was something that, yeah. But anyway, I was really hoping for the help that I really appreciate it, because yeah, it's a huge amount of work to deal with.
So it's all these little things behind the scenes that are little things, but when you put them all together, it becomes a lot.
Yes, exactly. It's like, who does the PR and who does this and then who does the everything like that. When you are putting out a CD, for example, it takes a lot of people to kind of work with. And of course, we're happy to work now with the Blood Blast distribution, and at the moment I feel that it's a really good match for us. It really feels really good. But of course, that was the first reaction. I was like, a bummer. This what?
I thought we had a great date. I thought everything went really well. And
yes,
then
exactly.
They ghosted you. They ghosted you.
Yeah, but that's I think that everybody is kind of dealing with the changes that is in the music business at the moment. So nobody's touring, and the ones who are touring are complaining that it's so expensive. Yes, people are not buying tickets and like the pre-sale tickets, and so it's really like venues are like if they don't sell enough, they don't do them at all. So it's kind of all the time like balancing. So I think that also the labels are balancing. So I'm not blaming anyone, but still I felt like, okay, so I wasn't expecting this, because we were just signed and we kind of felt like, okay, this is going there and it's a nice thing to do. But like financially, it's not a good thing to be at label. Yes, if you are kind of managing everything on your own, you kind of know what comes in and what goes out and so on. So in that way, it was really different percentages when you are signed to a label, of course. It's really different.
One last question for you. With the album just around the corner, where can fans, or what can fans expect from Dark Sarah next? Are you planning some shows in Finland? What are your plans?
Yes, we are. We have two album release shows in Helsinki and Tampere next month in February, and also in March. At the moment, we haven't had any other bookings yet, and I'm really like hoping that there will be on another shows. And also we would really want to go to Central Europe, like Germany, where we have a big fan base. But still, we don't have an agent in Europe, and I think that what I do, most of the stuff that I do, this is something that I cannot include to my kind of.
Yeah, I think you already have too many hats.
Yes, so we don't have enough like people working with us, and it's a bummer. That too is a bummer, but we would like to tour and do a lot of more shows, but in Finland it's really hard nowadays for this kind of symphonic metal style bands, there are not so many anymore because the venues don't book bands, symphonic metal bands.
Really? That's interesting. I didn't know that.
You said that. It's really, yeah, it's really interesting, and it's really weird, I would say, because Finland is a really big metal country.
Yeah,
But still,
yeah.
yeah, but I think that the trend is different at the moment. So there are not so many female fronted bands at the moment that are getting any shows. Yeah.
Oh wow, I was not expecting that. I was expecting you to say a lot of things, but not that. That's a shock for me. It's sad. It's sad because so many talented bands in Finland and symphonic in the symphonic realm too. So hopefully things change, and hopefully 2023 will bring you guys some shows, and it'll bring you everything that you want for yourself and for the band and for Dark Sarah. Heidi, thank you very much for taking the time.
Thank you so much. Thank you, and thank you for the nice interview. It's always lovely to talk to you.
Oh, it's always my pleasure to talk to you, and thank you for the amazing record that you guys put out.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
You too. Bye.